Have you ever wondered if dragons could be more than just stories? What if I told you that the line between myth and science isn't as clear as you think? Today, we're going to dig into the wildest facts and secret connections that even scientists debate, combining fossil records, DNA mysteries, and legendary tales from every corner of the globe. By the end of this video, you'll question everything you thought you knew about dragons. Get ready to see the world with new eyes. Hit subscribe because you're about to discover the 10 things I wish I knew before exploring the science behind dragons. Imagine a time before Netflix, before the internet, before even books. Stories traveled by word of mouth and dragons appeared everywhere. China, Mesopotamia, ancient Europe. The Chinese dragon was wise and lucky, while European dragons were more like villains. According to historian Adrian Mayer, almost every ancient culture described giant, scaly, serpentine creatures, sometimes as protectors, sometimes as monsters. Archaeologists found dragon-like carvings from 5,000 years ago in Central Asia. But why were so many cultures obsessed with dragons? Some scientists believe that discovering dinosaur fossils gave rise to dragon legends. In fact, the word dinosaur means terrible lizard, and the first fossils found in China were called dragon bones. So, before diving into the science, realize that dragons united ancient people in awe and fear. The truth? Our obsession with these creatures is older than most countries. Let's be honest, some dragon stories are just too wild to be pure fantasy. Throughout history, explorers and villagers stumbled upon enormous animal remains. Take the Komodo dragon, for example, a real-life giant lizard that can reach 3 meters and weigh over 70 kilograms. Early sailors believed they'd found baby dragons. In Africa, stories of massive snakes, like the 10-meter-long Titanoboa from prehistoric Colombia, added fuel to the myth. Crocodiles, monitor lizards, and even the bones of whales or mammoths washed up on distant shores could all be mistaken for dragon relics. Ancient Greek writers described drakon as gigantic snakes, sometimes with wings. Even Marco Polo wrote about dragons in China. Turns out, when you mix imagination with giant animal bones, you get the recipe for a legendary dragon. One of the coolest dragon powers is fire breathing. But could any animal really do that? Actually, yes. The bombardier beetle, found in Africa, Asia, and the Americas, can shoot boiling chemicals from its body at enemies, hot enough to burn. Some snakes can spit venom. The prehistoric dinosaur Dilophosaurus, featured in Jurassic Park, was imagined spitting poison too. The spitting cobra's venom can blind and even kill prey. So while a fire-breathing T-Rex isn't real, nature has evolved some wild ways to breathe fire. Scientists call this convergent evolution, when different animals develop similar abilities. So maybe ancient people weren't totally crazy when they imagined dragons spewing fire. Okay, let's get sci-fi. Could science actually make a dragon? In 2025, scientists sequenced the full genome of the Komodo dragon. Why? They wanted to understand how these lizards fight infection, heal wounds, and grow so big. The Komodo's DNA revealed special genes for fast healing and powerful muscles. In the real world, we can't combine dinosaur DNA with lizards yet, but the technology of CRISPR gene editing is moving fast. Jurassic Park was fiction, but de-extinction projects are working to bring back the woolly mammoth. So is cloning a dragon crazy? Maybe, but in science, crazy ideas sometimes become reality. Have you noticed how dragons look different depending on where the story comes from? Asian dragons are long, serpentine, and often fly without wings, symbols of wisdom and rain. Western dragons are bulky, winged, and breathe fire, usually villains. This isn't random, it's called convergent myth-making. For example, flooding and storms were a big deal in China, so dragons became gods of water. In Europe, war and plagues shaped dragon myths into monsters to be slain by heroes. Psychology plays a role too. Dragons often combine features of animals humans fear: snakes, eagles, lions. In short, the way dragons look says a lot about the people who believed in them. Why are humans so obsessed with dragons? According to psychologist Dr. David E. Jones, our brains are wired to fear predators. Dragons are like a greatest hits monster. Fangs, claws, wings, fire, all in one. They represent the ultimate fear and also the ultimate challenge. Defeating a dragon is symbolic. It means conquering our deepest anxieties. In myths, only the bravest heroes faced dragons. Even today, slaying your dragon means overcoming big obstacles. So dragons aren't just cool, they're a mirror for our own minds. Jung called them archetypes that show up in dreams, fairy tales, and even our nightmares. Did you know people have actually tried to find dragon bones? In medieval China, dragon bones were ground up for medicine. Many were actually dinosaur or mammoth fossils. In Europe, huge bones found in caves were labeled as dragon remains. Even today, new fossils sometimes inspire wild theories. The Dracorex hogwartsia, a real dinosaur whose name means Dragon King of Hogwarts, looked just like a mythical beast. In 2004, paleontologists discovered its skull with spikes and bumps straight out of a fantasy movie. So, next time you see a fossil, imagine the stories it could tell. Sometimes, science and myth aren't so far apart. Fast forward to today. Dragons are everywhere. From Game of Thrones and How to Train Your Dragon to Pokemon and Harry Potter, these creatures have never been more popular. Why? Because they're endlessly flexible. They can be wise mentors, terrifying monsters, or even best friends. Fun fact, in a 2022 global poll, dragons ranked as the #1 favorite mythical creature worldwide, beating unicorns and mermaids. Dragon emojis trend on social media, and fantasy books with dragons sell millions. Pop culture doesn't just keep dragon myths alive, it evolves them. So every time you binge a dragon series, you're adding your own chapter to a legend thousands of years old. Let's get real. No scientist has ever found evidence of a real fire-breathing dragon. But that doesn't mean the legend is dead. New species are discovered every year, like the deep-sea dragonfish, which glows in the dark and has giant teeth. Some experts believe certain dragon legends may have started with now extinct megafauna or rare genetic mutations. And with technology like LiDAR, we're still finding ancient ruins and even unknown species. So, while dragons as we imagine them don't exist, the world still hides plenty of surprises, some stranger than any myth. Here's the secret. We still need dragons, not in the sky, but in our stories. Dragons make us curious, brave, and creative. They remind us to look for the extraordinary in the ordinary. Carl Sagan said, "Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere." When you search for dragons, you're really searching for the limits of your own imagination. And sometimes, those limits move. So keep dreaming, keep exploring, and never stop asking, what if? So, what did we learn? Dragons might not be real in the way movies show, but the science, history, and legends around them are absolutely real, and even more fascinating. Maybe that's the magic. The best mysteries are the ones we can never quite solve. If you enjoyed this wild journey, hit like, leave a comment with your favorite dragon myth, and don't forget to subscribe for more adventures. Until next time, keep chasing your dragons.